Alright, what is going on today, guys? We are back for another episode. Now, this is going to be an overnight episode in the mod, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to work on getting our workbench made up. We're going to also do some building, a little bit of harvesting. I'm going to basically take you guys through my overnight process. So, I ended up going back to the trader. I wanted to get the nail gun that I saw, and also the ratchet so we could start basically just chunking up some vehicles, get some gas, stuff like that as well. So first things first, we can go ahead and get our wrench made up while we're out and about. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take and make a slight detour. Instead of going right back to our base, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some cars salvaged up here on the way back. Get ourselves a little bit of gas because we're going to need a little bit of gas overnight for the auger now. And like I said, I went back, I got this ratchet, got the nail gun. The ratchet was very cheap. Um, it wasn't even 1,000 dukes, so we're going to put this to good use, getting ourselves a little bit of gas. We don't need a ton of gas right now. We just need enough basically to do a little bit of mining with. We'll probably be harvesting like some clay and some stone overnight so we can work on getting some more cobblestone. Also, we're going to need some more clay and stone because we need to set up another forge, and we need to, whoops, we can search this one first. We need to get going on making some cement, get that all pumped out before we have to go ahead and make ourselves that cement mixer. Now the cement mixer is something we're going to be working on here pretty soon. It's not going to be, you know, we don't have to get that done right away. We're not going to need the cement until probably close to day 5 when we'll actually start working on making our horde base. Now our horde base is gonna really depend on a lot of things. If we can get a decent robotic sledge, I will probably start specking into the turret part of the intellect tree and get that going, because I'd love to be able to have a couple of those sledges running at the same time, just because of how it ends up working out. The design is actually pretty good for the horde base, but it's a lot better with the sledge. Obviously, you don't need it, but the base is, I basically designed. Now, I don't know if anybody else has made this kind of base. I honestly have not taken the time to watch anybody play play uh play 7 Days to Die since the alpha dropped. I've been kind of just playing on my own, and I've been really busy outside of making the videos, so I haven't had a terrible lot of time to do much other than get my videos done, and I've been just terribly busy. Now, one thing I had mentioned before, and I know a few people have asked this, was if I plan on streaming at all. The short answer is yes. I do absolutely plan on streaming at some point, but it's gonna depend on a few things here. So one of the things is I do need to work on upgrading my computer. That's gonna be kind of a bigger thing that I gotta get done. And in order to do that, uh, I do need to um, more or less. I'm gonna end up needing to uh, need to get the funds set aside for that, um, and such. So that's gonna take a little bit, because when I do end up upgrading my computer, I want certain things. Is how I'll put it. So I have been looking into it, and it's gonna cost a fair bit of money. Uh, so I have already been looking into it and figuring out exactly what I'm gonna need, or rather what I'm gonna want for it. And when it does come that I end up getting the money for that, I do plan on getting that stuff right away, and then seeing what I can do as far as streaming for that. But at the moment, like I said, I'm working on getting the money for that. So as soon as that happens, then I'll probably look into doing it more. Now, it's not going to be a perfect setup right away. It's gonna obviously it's going to be something that's going to be an over the time kind of thing, that it starts out as more of a bare bones thing and then works its way from there. So now as far as what I need for that is what I'm working on getting is going to be is a new graphics card first and foremost, because I don't think, to be perfectly honest, I don't think my graphics card would hold up for what I'm going to need. But because my current graphics card is just, it's enough to play the game and make the videos, but it's not going to be enough to be able to run a stream off of as well. So I'm going to work on getting a 2070 Super graphics card for my PC, and I'm also going to work on getting a better CPU for it as well. Now, the CPU I'm looking at getting is, and I'm still not 100% sure on this, but I was looking at getting something like an i7 9700K, or even going one step further and getting an i9. Why the hell did that place there? But yeah, like I said, I am looking into getting the stuff like that. I also want to get a bigger main drive for my SSD. I do currently have a smaller SSD, but I do have a good backup drive. Although it's not an SSD, so I kind of want to. It's a hybrid drive, but it's not what I necessarily want to make it. How do I put it? As good as possible, I guess, is what I'm looking for. So that being said, it is going to take a little bit of time. It is going to take a little bit of money, but I do still plan on doing that at some point here. And again, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I do still plan on streaming at some point here. Hopefully in the near future, if everything goes right. But I don't want to get anybody's hopes up and then not be able to right away, so I'm not going to say much more than that about it. It's just it's kind of a wait and see thing at the moment for me. But like I said, I will be trying to, as much as possible, make it happen, and as soon as possible as well. But anyway, we need to go ahead and get ourselves another forge made up. Now, we could make the HD forge right away, but the problem is it takes bellows, and I'm kind of wanting to save on forged iron at the moment. And basically the HD forges I want to use more for making the forged brass and forged titanium, so we can get the congealed metal and that sort of thing going as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up another forge, and this is basically going to be just for turning stone into cement with. Now, I know it might sound a little bit funny working on cement this early, but the quicker you can work on stuff like that and make it happen, it kind of tends to be the better. So, you know what? I just realized where I think I left my other stuff at. I believe I left it at this other trader over here, because we dropped off a bunch of stuff before we headed over to clear that house. Now that I think about it, I think that's where we left our stuff. There should be like a chest right in the road by that building. Anyway, this video is going to come up right after the other one. So if you guys are wondering, it's they're going to be more of a back-to-back thing. But anyway, now what I tend to do is, while I got stuff like that working in my inventory, what I tend to do is I tend to just go harvest. Now, we got lucky, we found ourselves an auger. We don't necessarily need to carry the pickaxe on us right now, because we should have plenty of gas as far as getting more stone, more clay, stuff like that. Another thing we also need to keep working on, or rather start working on, my apology, is we need to start getting some iron smelted down and start working on pumping out the forged iron with it. Now, we do have some bellows, we do have an anvil as well, and I will tell you guys this right now, you can actually put more than one bellows into the forge, and it actually does speed up the process. So we're going to put 2 of them in there and 1 of the anvils, and then we're just going to go ahead and drop that in there. We're going to take half of our current clay, And then we're just going to take a bunch of wood, and what I end up doing is I just put a stack of wood in there like that, and then as I need it, I can just peel it off right there. But having multiple bellows in there does tend to seem to work better, so watch the timer on the clay there. If we take one out, it's actually going to work right. Hold on. It's actually not showing it right now. It was earlier. I wonder if that got changed at all, because it was actually helping out the timer, especially on stuff that takes longer, like brass radiators and stuff. But I just tend to put a couple of them in there, a couple of anvils. One thing that really helps out as far as crafting timer in your forge is going to be when you get the nerdy goggles, for sure. But anyway, we need to go ahead and get our workbench dropped down, so I tend to save a spot in between, and then I'll put 2 HD forges there, then save a spot, and then we're going to drop the workbench down there. So this other forge is going to go right in front of this one here, and like I said, this one's going to be basically just for rock. So we're just going to go ahead and stick a bunch of rock in here. Doesn't have to be perfect how much you put in there, because we'll be adding to it, of course, as we go. And obviously that runs us out of rock for the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and organize just a little bit there and just get that started. We can go ahead and put our other bellows in there, which we have one left. We don't have any crucibles, we don't have any more anvils right now, so that's something we'll be working on getting more as well. But pop that in there and let that sucker run, and then as we come back and forth, we'll basically just be adding to it with resources. We'll be starting to craft some of the stuff. But anyway, what we need to work on now is the bicycle. So the bicycle, I kind of know most of what I need for that. We need pipe for sure. We're gonna need some iron, some duct tape, leather, mechanical parts. Oh, I can't find the other stuff I'm looking for here. I know we need the oil and polymer and the acid. We got to make wheels. We also need the coal, which is right there. I think we need cloth for something as well. Let me actually look here. I can't find what I'm looking for. So, springs. Okay, springs are what we need. Alright, where are my springs? Do we not? Oh, I bet you we don't have springs because we didn't have a wrench for, boy, oh boy, I've just been doing great, haven't I? I don't think we can craft springs, can we? No. So, we do have a few minutes here. Can we pray that the trader has a couple springs for us? Oh, we actually have a couple. Ah, there we go. Oh, thank God. Thank God. So that should get us both of them, yep, because we only need 2 for each. And then we can go ahead and start the wheels, which we don't need 6. We can actually just make 2. And beautiful. That is fantastic. Go ahead and drop all this crap off in here. Now we are making up a whole bunch of the flagstone blocks, and the reason for that is we're going to be adding on to our main base here. I like to build up my main base as early as possible, and then I like to make the walls about 4 high off the floor, and then put in the top section on this side so I can up above so I can make my sorting chests up there. So with the blocks, what we're going to do first is we're actually going to go and harvest some more clay and rock, so that way we can get started on making more cobblestone as we are as we're building, and then we'll have our upgrade materials as we go as well. So I don't see any big rocks. What I tend to look for when I'm getting stone is I tend to leave the small rocks alone unless they need to get out of the way. But if I don't end up finding them, what I do is I just come over to a spot where I'm mining clay and I just dig down a little bit further. So again, this is not going to be a really action-packed episode. This is just basically going to be to show what I tend to do overnight and how I go about and dealing with zombies, because there tends to be plenty of them. Oh my god, I can't hit reload, thank you. One thing I do not like is when you're reloading, you move like a turtle. But anyway, yeah, I just basically tend to just go and cut through this stuff. Now, normally I don't have an auger this early, so what I do is I just take a shovel and I just keep pounding through here. I'd normally bring a whole bunch of food and like some coffee with for a stamina regen. Specifically if I'm using iron tools, because the stamina system with the new Alpha 19 update sucks balls, for lack of a better way to put it. It is absolutely terrible. Stamina, even at Sexual Tyrannosaurus 3, you need blackstrap coffee to keep up with the stamina usage for an iron tool. So it's rough. And you know, that's another reason why we're playing the mod, not just because I love the mod, but also because I'm hoping that they do some decent changes with the alpha, and I kind of want to wait until it goes stable before I play anymore, just because there's just a lot of stuff on there that they're probably going to end up hopefully changing, and I just kind of want to wait right now, because another person had mentioned this, but there's basically everybody's playing the alpha or the vanilla version of Alpha 19 right now, and so, you know, all the content's just saturated as far as that goes. And to be honest, I really wanted to get back into this mod. I feel like with the alpha dropping, we almost should have just stayed on the Alpha 18 version of this mod and just kept playing it, because I feel like we just did not get enough playtime in this mod before we had to jump ship to the vanilla version. And then the vanilla version I didn't really even think was that great, so you know, I really do wish I would have just stuck with the Alpha 18 version of this mod and just kept playing it for a while and waited for vanilla to go stable, because that's basically what we're gonna end up doing now anyway. Now, I don't know how many people are gonna like the idea or dislike the idea that we're gonna basically be done with vanilla for now, but you know, it just there needs to be a lot of changes with it, and to be honest, I much prefer the mods, more so now than even before, just because of some of the changes they made. But anyway, basically as I go and I start to get a bunch of resources, I will just go ahead and start queuing up cobblestone rocks to be made, because it takes forever to make the cobblestone rocks. As you can see, not even 1,500 of them takes 24 minutes to make. So it takes forever to make that. So I'll just queue up a bit, and then I'll keep working on doing my mining. Now, we could also be mining iron for our forge too, which is something that I will end up getting to. I tend to work on my building materials first, like the rock and clay for making the cobblestone, and more rock for turning into cement in the forge, before I actually will work on getting the iron to put in the forge for making the forged iron and stuff like that as well. Now, potentially, depending on how the traders restock overnight tonight, we could potentially find a forge schematic or even a forge at the trader, because I don't think we've unlocked the crucible yet. Oh, we actually have. Holy crap. Oh, that's right. We did get that. So we could actually potentially make that up and start pumping out forged steel here pretty soon. We just need to get a little bit of iron from our forge, and then we could start working on making forged steel, which we're going to need a lot of forged steel. HD workbench, HD gun bench, HD ammo bench, picks bench, all the what you call it? What am I thinking of? The workstation tools for them, like the welder, the bullet press, the CNC automatics, handgun, rifles one. All those are going to take a ton of resources to get, and they're all things that we absolutely are going to need as well. So it's starting to get dark. When it does start to get dark, I tend to just pull up the brightness, because it's basically like playing in the day. And if I'm making a video at night for you guys, I'm always going to turn up the brightness so you guys can see. It's not because I don't like the feel of the dark. I mean, I can go nights where I just use my helmet light mod, but as far as making a video goes, I'm not going to play with just my helmet light mod on because it's too dark. I want you guys to be able to see first and foremost over, you know, what do I want to call it? Like realism's sake, I guess is what I'll say. Uh, or how the game's actually set up, whatever you'd like to call it. But I want to make sure that you guys are able to see, more importantly than feel the realism of having to use a helmet light mod. Just because, you know, nobody wants to watch a dark video where you can't see nothing. I mean, I've checked out a couple videos on YouTube before where the video is just so dark you can't see shit, and it's like, well, basically all you're doing is listening to the content creator talk then. And yes, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if the point is to be able to see what they're doing, it kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion anyway. So that's why, if you guys are wondering, I tend to have my brightness up. Not during the day though. I feel like during the day I can get away with leaving it as default, which I normally do. I just turn it to the 50 default on there, and that tends to be good enough. So anyway, this is about good for rock. I do a lot of mining, which you guys will come to find out on here. I do a ton of mining, tons of resource harvesting, because first and foremost, I love to build on here. That's one thing that I absolutely do a ton of on here, is building. Now I have this set up because the first night I kind of use this to pick zombies off with the arrows and draw them in closer. Basically don't need that anymore. I'm more so just run around with the shotgun. I tend to be probably too aggressive as far as that goes now, but oh well. If we end up getting infected because of it, I guess it is what it is, and we'll just deal with it. But anyway, now we can start just pumping out the cement as we go here, and as well here we can start pumping out forged iron, and that's going to be plenty of forged iron now for a little while. So we'll just let this run and cut that stuff out of there, and then we'll just go ahead and drop this off. And as you noticed, I didn't queue up any more cobblestone because 20 minutes yet. We'll probably be mining iron by that time and get a little bit of rock from that. So now we just need the one mechanical part. And where does the health thing come from? Noticed that a few times. We didn't. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to making the bike now, because that would be fantastic. That'll be our first vehicle. Now, with that being said, the bike is not something that I tend to use for too long. We'll probably end up being able to buy something from the trader before too long. I mean, I was able to, well, as you guys saw in the last video, we would have been able to buy the 4x4 right away. Now, personally, I will probably wait until I get a motorcycle, just because the motorcycle is the fastest, and if it's got the same storage, why bother using the bigger vehicle or a slower vehicle for that matter if it's got the same amount of storage? In my opinion, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me overthinking it too much, or just, I don't know, efficiency, I guess, if you want to call it that. Being over anal about what vehicle I'm using, that could probably be what you call that as well. But anyway, now is when I start building my base. So I'd take a little bit of break from the mining. We could have bought like the mining candy and used that. I do tend to do that basically only once I get the HD auger. If you're going to use the boost, you might as well use it with the best. Again, trying to be over efficient about it on here is probably a problem I have a lot. We could use it basically anytime we want. Now the boost is very good. It does help quite a bit with mining. It does obviously, you know, do just as it says. It gives you the more resources. So it comes in very handy when you're mining. It allows you to take less time to mine. And I keep doing that. This stupid grass. I hate the grass. I keep screwing up my blocks. Grass gets in the way. Now one thing I do like to do is I do like to clear 2 around, as you guys can see, 2 around my base of all the grass and stuff like that, because I absolutely cannot stand it. One thing we will definitely be making on here is the weed whacker, which, you know what? Let's make this thing. I hate the grass. I really do. Absolutely hate it. So I have no problem going ahead and doing that. Then we'll just stop that for a minute, re-queue it all up, and put our crap away like that. Now one thing we do need to start doing is we do need to start buying some shotgun shells from the trader. As far as ammo goes, we're doing, you know, okay-ish at best as far as the other ammo goes. But once we start doing like the buried treasures again and stuff like that, now that we have the bike, we can go ahead and start buying tons of ammo. And we won't be crafting ammo right away. One of the things we do need to get is the chemistry station, which we actually could make right now. It only takes 1 beaker, 100 iron, a couple cooking pots, some short iron pipe, but it takes 5 acid. This is what I got confused with the 5 acid, by the way. But it takes almost 14 minutes to make one. So obviously we don't quite have enough acid now. We're 1 short, and we also need more pipes now. But now that we got the ratchet going, we'll be good to go as far as getting our crafting components again. One thing we will eventually be making, and basically as soon as possible, is the HD impact wrench. Now, yes, it is expensive. You need an HD cell, which requires 4 car batteries, and basically everything else is not too hard to get. Now, I will be skipping the impact driver, and I will tell you exactly why. And this made no sense to me when I was playing vanilla. Why in the hell does the impact driver take stamina? And not only does it take stamina, but it takes a decent chunk of stamina too. So when I first saw that they put that into vanilla, I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome, you know. It's going to be a stamina saving thing, especially because of how bad the stamina system was. And it's like, no, it's not. It takes a big chunk of stamina, just like using the wrench or the ratchet does. And now I don't know if it was just random stats on the ratchet that I've found so far in game, but the ratchet is not much better than the wrench anyway. And so I'm not sure what exactly they were trying to do with the ratchet versus the wrench, but there's that stupid grass again. But you know, I honestly feel like to be perfectly honest, they failed with whatever they were trying to do with this stuff. So let's get rid of this stuff because yeah, I love this thing. This thing is like, but I will say one thing about the weed whacker. I was honestly a little bit disappointed that it wasn't actually like a gas-powered weed whacker. It's just like a hand scythe, more or less. But yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do with the impact driver that they made as far as vanilla goes. But for me, I would honestly say that was a fail because it might be. I don't know if it even harvests better, to be honest. But if it still requires stamina, what's the point in having a damn power tool if it still requires stamina? And yeah, I know some people will argue, well, you got to hold it out in your hand in order to use it. So yeah, it makes sense that you use stamina. Yeah, but you use the auger and the chainsaw without using stamina. So how would using a battery powered, especially, and another thing is if you're looking at the realism point of view on it, how are you using a battery pack powered impact driver during an apocalypse with no power? you're not crafting a battery charger for it. It just works and never dies. So from a realism point of view, if they're trying to make it realistic, it shouldn't have been a battery powered one anyway, but I don't know. There's just way too much debate that you could have with that. Honestly, I think that was a failed attempt in my opinion by them. Like I said, if you're going to have a power tool, don't have it use stamina, especially when you make the stamina system as terrible as they did for the alpha. So, I don't know. I was really disappointed with how that ended up turning out, to be honest. And yeah, I know some people are going, well, just some people will probably say, well, you're just whining about it. Well, yeah, a little bit I am whining about it because it's such a letdown. Obviously, you're gonna complain about a game if you want to see it succeed, and you're gonna nitpick about the stuff if it makes sense to be picky about it and you want to see the game do as good as possible. Obviously, we're all gonna have different opinions on stuff, so I'm not expecting everybody to agree with all my ideas on the stuff. But, you know, if you're making another power tool for a game when the existing power tools already don't use stamina, why the hell do you have a power tool use stamina? It just made no sense, and it really, I guess it triggered me pretty good. I was very disappointed in that, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, enough bitching about that. I'll just shut up about that because you guys aren't here to listen to me bitch about that. Just wanted to kind of express that. But anyway, now what I like to do is I like to do some leveling as well. Overnight, leveling is a big thing. I tend to try to get as much of the tedious work done as possible, like for instance the upgrading, mining, and stuff like that. It all generates a decent amount of XP, but it's the grind, I guess is what I'll call it. But now what I tend to do is I tend to like to do all my upgrading, and this is why I bought the nail gun, because you can upgrade ridiculously fast with it. So just go up and around, and we leveled up now, and we might get lucky and level up again. Now, a lot of it we'll have to do from the outside, like especially the corners where they meet up. You'll notice this corner we already had upgraded, but like this corner you can't actually hit them blocks from the inside, so you actually have to come outside to do this. And then of course the bottom blocks as well. So we're not going to have nearly enough cobblestone to upgrade this, as you guys can see, but it's a good little start. We got a bunch more going. And basically once I run out, I tend to go back to doing some more mining again. So what we'll do now is we'll go and we'll take a look at, actually I'm going to go through with you guys here and clear out the outside here. Get rid of this stupid grass. It gets in the way when you're trying to do upgrades and stuff like that. That's another reason I don't really like it. Not only when you're placing blocks, but also when you're trying to upgrade blocks. The grass gets in your way and you kind of got to try to find that happy spot for it, and it's just like, yeah, no. I just not a big fan. Now, does it work as far as getting the double for the living off the land? Yes, it does. So, and it takes like next to no stamina. I think it takes, yeah, it takes no stamina. And you can hit like basically infinitely fast. So if you got to harvest like some of the wild resources like this, you could just go through and obviously, other than being a little bit noisy, I mean, you can cook through this stuff super quick, get your wildflowers you need for making your tea. If you need some cloth, pick the cotton for that as well. So as you guys can see, we make pretty much short work of the stuff. Not much to it, and it's a very cheap item to make. So it just, we plowed through all that. We got 8 goldenrod, we got 42 chrysanthemum, 56 cotton, and 160 plant fiber. So that's not too bad at all. Whoops. And yes, you could actually use it to chop up something like this. It's just going to take you a day or so. So I don't ever use it for something like that, but you know, as far as like quickly working on getting everything else done, it works like a charm. So I love it. It's honestly one of my favorite things in the game. Whoops, I don't want this stuff in there. This actually goes into my food chest. So this is basically one chest that I always keep sorted out here. Always keep my food stuff sorted out separately. When we do go ahead and work on making the upper level for our storage chests, what I like to do is I like to have a drop chest here, my food chest here, I have my crafting chest here, and then I have my building and my forge kind of stuff in there. And then up top we'll have stuff like ammo, guns, parts, mods, trader, etc. like that all goes upstairs. It's all the stuff upstairs is basically stuff you're not going to use as often. But anyway, what we could actually do now is we could start working on the meta quest. Now, one thing we are going to be stuck at for a little bit is the med kits. We need the chemistry station set up in order to do that. So that's something we're going to be stuck at anyway. So that's another reason why I'm not exactly working on that right now. And another thing is I won't mine resources this close to my base, because if the resource runs that way, then you're just inviting zombies to end up digging down in there and collapsing your base. So I do not like to mine that close to my base anymore. I've learned my lesson a couple times from that. So what I do is I tend to run around and look for new nodes. Now, I do obviously only have coal marked on my map. I don't know why, but I've gotten, how do I want to put it? I've gotten a little bit lazy as far as marking stuff like that on my map, and I kind of am disappointed with myself for that reason. I should be doing a better job. I normally do, and I don't know why I haven't been, but I normally at least mark one of each resource, like, if possible, day one. And the fact that I didn't is kind of bothers me. Why am I running around when we got a damn bike? What am I doing? I bet you guys are thinking the same thing. Why the hell are you running around when you have a bicycle now? Not only that, but we also got to drop some mods into the bicycle now too, because we got some. And I always hit up the bird's nest, kind of force habit, getting the eggs. I do still tend to make quite a bit of bacon and eggs. And another thing that I like to do is make blueberry pie, so I need the eggs for that anyway. But we're going to check out a couple of these mods. We only have 2 different ones that we could socket into this and see if they actually work. Now, I don't think the turbo mod will actually work in the bike, but we'll actually find out, and apparently it does. So, how does that work? Now let's actually refresh and check the stats. It doubled the speed. It doubled the freaking speed on it. Oh my god, this thing is gonna, like, we gotta check this out. If that actually doubled the speed, holy crap. I'm just gonna drop off this stuff into there, save on a little bit of room. Let's check this out. Man, you go pretty damn quick with this thing. Now the motorcycle, I don't know what the top speed is with the mods in it yet. Obviously, I haven't had enough time to play around with it completely, but I know with the aerodynamics mod I got in it, I think I got aerodynamics and gas saver in mine. I could do like 42 kilometers, I think is what it's in. It's in like kilometers. You can do like 42 kilometers in that thing, so it goes pretty darn fast. But even still, the bicycle goes about half as fast as the motorcycle right now, and that's the only problem is the stamina usage, of course. But anyway, as far as iron mining goes, I'll show you guys how I tend to go about mining. So we do have our helmet light. It is going to be a little bit dark down below yet, but what I tend to do is I tend to always take the surface boulders off first, and I leave the respawn things there because they will respawn. I'm not exactly sure what the timer on them is as far as respawning is, but I know they do spawn back, and I always look around, make sure there's no zombies around, because I don't want to get started and end up having to deal with zombies. There was a dog up there I seen, but I'm not too worried about them. But anyway, we got a couple points, so we already have strength 5 of 10, so we can go ahead and take points 4 and 4 into here. And then what I do is I go in between here on one side or the other. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of tend to pick a side, and I drill down until I find the lead. Why the hell is there lead in my iron mine? What the hell? Alright, so we got lead on this side and iron on this side. But what I tend to do is I tend to make sure I'm at least a block down from where the iron starts, and then I start cutting over. Now, do you have to? No. But, and it ends right there. What the hell? Some of these nodes are kind of crappy, by the way. So you're gonna have to look sometimes and maybe even find a different one. But what I tend to do is I just tend to start cutting and basically go until the resource runs out. What the hell is going on with this node? Alright, well, let's check the lead side of it. See what the hell happens here. So the lead keeps going. Where the hell's the iron at, though? I guess we'll go one deeper and see if it's just kind of going to be a deep node like that. Hopefully it goes underneath it. No, it doesn't. It stops again. This might just be a bum iron node. Now, I've found quite a few bad nodes so far. Yeah, this one's just junk. So if I don't find one that I like, whoops, to actually get in the center here so we don't bounce off. If I find one that I don't like, I just keep going and find a different one. Like I said, sometimes you do end up finding the junk nodes. It happens. I found tons of them over the time where you end up going and it's just like a shallow, short little teaser of a node, and that's it. And then you just move on and find something else. So again, this is basically what I end up doing overnight is I harvest, I build, I kill the zombies, and I do a bunch of my crafting sort of stuff as well. It just kind of, it ends up working out because a lot of the stuff that I do overnight is stuff that, like this, you know, again, doesn't make for great action-packed content. So I just tend to do it on my own time, and I don't know, it seems to work out pretty good. Now, if you guys want to see more videos like this, you'll have to let me know. But I know obviously a lot of people are going to go, well, we don't want to see shit like this. There's no action to it. And I totally get that. I totally understand that. So if you guys don't want to see a lot of videos like this, I won't do many videos like this. A lot of the overnight stuff that we'll probably end up doing will be like questing then. Like the class quests and stuff like that. Where did this dog go? Oh, there he is. I want to kill this guy off before I go down there, because he's close. So, there we go. And see if that triggers any zombies, which it does. Alright, we're good. We could harvest him up, I guess. Oh, wait, my knife is on my bike. Go ahead and grab that. Yeah, this is kind of what I end up doing overnight. Again, it's nothing special. It just kind of is what it is to get the resources I need for building, get the materials I need for crafting, all that sort of stuff. So it's, again, it's nothing too special. It's just a good way to level up. It's a good way to take the time to get the resources that you need. Basically, I find it to be like the best time to do it, because then you're not wasting the good daylight hours. And honestly, for me, I don't really have too much issue with the zombies at night. So it doesn't bother me to be out at night. Even on day one. Day one, I was out harvesting clay and rock throughout the night. I just had to clear out the zombies. So basically, I don't have much of a problem with farming the zombies at night. It's just a matter of sometimes you do get some pretty nasty zombies. What is the exclamation point on my screen for? Oh, I was gonna say, that's the first time I noticed that. I was like, what the hell happened? For a minute there, I thought I contracted like some kind of odd super bug. I was like, oh god, what did I get this time? But yeah, so basically again, same thing. Take the surface boulders out, drill down in the middle till you start finding what you're looking for. And as you can see, we've hit iron and we've hit rock. Okay, well, check off to one side now and see what we find. And it looks good so far. We're finding some iron. I basically, you can tell by looking at the right side of the screen or looking at the health of the block that you're hitting. If it's 900, it's iron or lead. If it's 800, it's coal, nitrate, or oil shale. So, whoa, what the hell was that? Thing just like freaked out and spun around on me. But yeah, so this is basically my overnight. We got a decent chunk of iron there. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just head back and get it placed in the forge, and we're gonna wrap up the video from there. So again, I always place extra blocks above the surface so I can see from a distance where my nodes are. Just makes for easier time running them down when you do go over to look for them. So now to end the video, like I said, we're just gonna place a bunch of this stuff in the forge. So come right over to this one. This one will be empty, as you can see. Just chunk that in there, that in there, that in there. Add a little bit more wood into there, and I'm not even gonna worry about making more forged iron because we got plenty now. This one is still pretty good to go. We can go ahead and drop half of the stone in each slot there. Mix up some more cement there. And again, we're good to go. This does take quite a while, unfortunately, until you get an anvil in there. So we're done with the anvil in here. What we can actually do is we can cancel that and do this. And then as you can see, 11 minutes instead of 70 now. So the anvil is seriously overpowered. But as you can see just how quick that goes now, it's a huge difference. And our cobblestone is done, so what I would go about doing now is doing some more upgrades and stuff like that, or actually, rather, with what we got left, what I'll do is I'll just queue up all the blocks of that instead. So anyway, I know this is a long video, and I know, again, this isn't very action-packed, but this is just a look into what I go about doing overnight. And again, if we ended up having our upper floor set up for our storage chests, up there, I would be sorting through all this stuff, getting my signs set up, and all sort of stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this look into that. Maybe it'll help you guys tweak your play style a little bit, depending on if you guys like to do the mining and stuff like I do. And, you know, that's just a little look at what I do. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nothing too special, but just a little look at what I go through for my overnight. So this is basically what I end up doing every night, is working on mining, building, killing zombies. Anything basically leveling wise like that is what I kind of end up doing, and the tedious day-to-day grind of the game is what I'll call it. It's not even tedious either. It's just, you know. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll catch you guys back for the next normal episode.